how can I explain this? Okay, Ryan Garcia, his entourage, most of his entourage is African American, is black. There is some white people here and there, and there's some Mexicans, of course, and usually those are his families. But when it comes to his family members, but when it comes to people that are just around and there's more quantity of them, it's usually a black entourage that he has. It's a bunch of black people that he hangs around with. All right, his coach is black. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that it just doesn't make any sense for Ryan Garcia to be a racist. Now, that's because I'm coming at it from an illogical look. The guy was being sentimental in the chat room that he was in. I think it was on X. I forgot what they call it, with Discord or something like that. And that's where he said the stuff that he said. You got people with the N-word, and he didn't only attack black people. He attacked Muslims. I think he attacked Jews as well. He attacked so many people. But the thing that got me, interested was the fact that most of the people complaining about it were black people. Which is going to bring me to another point, that I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys know that I play a little game called Street Fighter 6, which is the new iteration of Street Fighter. And I'm getting to a point, but in my last video I talked about psycho power and how psycho power is representative of psychological attacks, or attacks that attack your psyche. And part of that way they do that is by speaking, ill of you, or attacking you in a way, like, for example, saying the N-word with a hard R at the end, and attacking you in that way. So, and I did say that it was a bit in the magical realm, right? Also, and they had to do a lot with, like for example, Rose is a tarot reader, and she has a type of psycho power known as soul power, right? And JP, he's pretty much like a wizard if you look at him. And of course, he's not in the game. He's not, but he just looks like one. And the other thing that brought my attention from the game that also reminded me of Ryan and people that work the way Ryan does, is that Bison and Akuma, when they're fighting, they talk a lot of shit. And most of the Street Fighters also do the same, but not as much and as bad as Akuma and Bison do. So, taking a drink of water here. It's kind of hot here in Texas. But yeah, these guys, they love talking shit to each other, and well, not to each other. The Bison just talk shit regardless. But it's funny to me when they get together and they fight each other, because Akuma and Bison, it's like a roasting session between the both of them. It's like pitiful, or insolent, flee, or Akuma, when he beats you up and you're on the floor, he's like, death deems you unworthy, meaning you're not even worth killing. I'm just gonna leave you there on the floor, And Bison is like, you're barely worth the effort, which these are, in my opinion, psychological attacks. Like when you call somebody something like that, when you insult somebody, you're trying to attack them psychologically. Okay, now, that's a difference between that and actually believing it. It's not a difference. It's both things. Especially if you look at the last video, I did say that the people that they use psychological attacks, they also believe it themselves. For example, Devin Haney one time said, getting back to boxing, he said, I'm gonna let no white boy beat me. Okay, now you could say he was trying to insult somebody, but at the same time, he actually believes it. he actually believes that, you know, black people are just superior um, than white people at boxing or just in sports in general, or whatever he may think, which is racist, you know. But and I'm not comparing it to what Ryan said. You know, what Ryan said was a little bit worse, not necessarily because of the N word, you know, not necessarily because he used a hard R at the end. It was because he brought up George Floyd. You know, he brought up George Floyd, and I don't know if you guys know, but it's well, of course you know, because it's not just Mexicans that, you know, respect the dead. It's also other cultures. And it's just something horrible to do, to bring up the dead, and especially somebody who died the way, um, George Floyd did. Um, I'm in my car, by the way. Someone who died the way George Floyd did, in such a horrible manner, you know, asking for mercy, um, and begging for his mother. You know, anybody who's heard the way he died, and seen the tapes and heard the or looked at the videos and heard the audios, you know, it would be crazy for you to look at that and say, yeah, you know, F that guy or F that N word or something like. It's like, it's a dehumanization of a people, bro. It's looking at them, or at that person, particular person, which is in this case is George Floyd, as something less than a human. Because, I mean, even if you look at a dog suffering, or an animal, any type of creature, most people would want to help it. You know, would want to take care of it or whatever. But just the way Ryan acted, it really touched the nerve with me personally, especially when he talked about, you know, the George Floyd thing. Now, but the thing is, most people are giving too much um, power to the N word, in my opinion. And that's, in my opinion, what Ryan is doing. It's a psycho power move. You know, it's it's a thing that can only affect you if you let it. Now, you gotta give praise to black people, because in the past they have managed to take the word N word and turn it into a positive, or turn it into a almost term of endearment, and not really even a term of endearment, but just to use the word in different types of ways and to make it cool. And now everybody wants to say it. Now, in my opinion, that was good. What I think, in my personal opinion, of course, is going on right now is that the, the black people that are being sensitive about this word, um, are playing into the original meaning of it, which was to degrade the black community and to degrade just black people in general, by calling them the color of their skin, which is a negro. Right now, in Spanish, the word negro is just black. It's just a color. So it's like el carro negro, which means the black. I mean the black car. You know, el gato negro, which means the black cat. You know, or so on and so forth. Like the black tire, the llanta negra. Right. So it is just stating the color of said thing. You know, now the way the Americans use it is by taking that word and using it as a derogatory form. So now you see, my point is that people are the ones that give words power. Okay, we have the power to give things meaning, to give things that are without us mean nothing. We have the power to give those things a purpose and a meaning. Uh, okay, so what I'm trying to say is by that same token, you know, people have used that word to attack a people. In this case, African Americans, and African Americans have reversed it and turned it into something cool to say and something that everybody wants to say. But now you've missed the final step, which is to take away the effects of the word to you. But the thing is, some people don't know how to use that power completely, and don't know how to take away that power that originally was. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, don't let these words affect you so much. Don't let this psychological attacks affect you so much, because, um, like I said, you're the ones that give it power. People give words power. At the beginning, words are just sounds, goo goo gaga gigi. But then we give it a meaning, and with that meaning, we give it power. And that's the way psycho power works in Street Fighter. From my opinion, from the way I interpret psycho power in Street Fighter, it's really psychological attacks, um, or paranormal style magical attacks, I guess you could say, which in my opinion are almost the same thing. Because if you look at like shamans or wizards and stuff like that, they do a lot of extra stuff in order to convince people that they have, some sort of power over nature or whatever. Um, and by the way, I'm not saying that it's fake or anything like that. I think to discard um, the magical realm and even the psychological realm is to discard a big part of human, of just being human. If you're just nuts and bolts, um, it's just one aspect of humanity, in my opinion. Um, but anyways, yeah, getting back to Ryan, guys. Um, so now the guy, of course, I still think that he's crazy, and I'm not excusing what he said, right? He's already gotten suspended by the WBC, I believe, and the New York State Commission, and I think other federations or associations rather are starting to do the same. Um, Now, what else can I say? I mean, it's happening, and I think it's a good thing, you know. But I do think Ryan needs help. Okay, now some people don't want me to say that because it feels like an excuse, and it's not an excuse, man. The guy really does need help. Um, he's an alcoholic. He's probably a drug addict. Um, he probably messed up his hormones with all that PD use, um, anabolic steroids. So he's probably going through it right now. And the other thing I was gonna say is that it doesn't surprise me that he's saying stuff like this, because the circles that he runs in with, the Sneakos, the Andrew Tates, the even to a certain extent Donald Trump, um, they would say stuff like this too if they were as stupid as Ryan. If they were putting that stuff out in the open, um, yeah, they would say it. Okay, the thing, and I'm telling you, because the people that follow those people are some of the most racist people, or some of the most sexist people, or some of the most even homophobic people. Listen, I'm not gay, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to constantly talk about gay people every chance I get. Like these people are obsessed with it. Um, you know, and just the worst of the worst things that we have here in the U.S. Ryan is the epitome of those things. He's the epitome of that's my brother. I don't know what's going on here. Everybody wants to talk to me when I'm making these videos. But yeah, Ryan Garcia is the epitome of everything that's wrong with this country today. We have a bunch of bigotry. We have a bunch of sexism. We have a bunch of racism, homophobia, and extreme religious people, religious extremism. And if you look at it, online, Ryan Garcia is fighting against Muslims as well. So the thing is this is the thing, guys. I don't know why the Christians that are today, the religious extremists for Christians, I don't know why they are fighting against Muslims, because they're trying to do the same thing that Muslims are doing in their countries, to wrap their women up like burritos. It's the same thing. If Christians could do that, they would. That's what they're fighting to do now. Okay, to make the Ten Commandments part of the Constitution, to I mean, I don't know why people are surprised that Ryan said this stuff. I personally am not surprised. I never really liked the guy. I always said he was, on something. Not necessarily what they caught him in. Is just two factions working against each other. But none of them are actually righteous, bro. You look online and you got Ryan accusing Muslims of being pedophiles, which, I'm not going to say nay or yay, but I'm just going to say there is stuff in the Quran that suggests, that it could be true. You guys go do your research. Now, and then you get the Muslims accusing, Ryan Garcia of being a pedophile. And, bringing up text that he was trying to text a 15-year-old girl or whatever. Meanwhile, Donald Trump they just took out some files of Donald Trump going to Epstein Island asking for massages. But I mean, you guys, I know you guys are gonna make excuses for him, just like you're making excuses for Ryan, or just like you're making excuses for Muhammad, or just like you're making excuses for all of these people. But my thing is, everybody's pointing at each other, right? And everybody is just being stupid. It's like, bro, like, just admit that this is a human problem. Number one, because the way I'm looking at it from a middle point, from a middle vantage point. It just seems like, number one, there's a difference between the law, and there's a difference between numbers and actually doing the right thing. You can't quantify doing the right thing or righteousness with numbers. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the law is something that can't really, the law really is just used to attack people you hate and defend people you love. That's really what it is here, especially here in the U.S. All right, and this is why in the Bible it's more about looking within and knowing, are you doing this for righteous reasons, or are you being evil? Are you doing it to take advantage of somebody, or that's why it's more personal, and that's why Jesus Christ was saying that the law was death, because that's really what it is. It's just people using it as a weapon to accuse one person and accuse the other person, and being like, oh, I'm more righteous than you are. Everybody is accusing everybody of being a pedophile. Kendrick Lamar accused, what's his face, Drake, and everybody's like, yeah, let's all throw stones at him. You think Jesus would have done that, or would he say, hey man, he who is free of sin, throw the first stone? Of course, there's going to be people, oh no, please throw stones, which is something people would do in the Bronze Age, But the thing is, the powers that be want you to be in that mentality. They want you to be in the mentality of an accuser, because that gives them the power. Now, if you're in the mentality of a defender, or of a person that is objective and wants to see what's happening, okay, let's relax. Let's not get into our feelings and see what's really going on here. If you're like that, then you're less likely to be manipulated. But unfortunately, we live in a day and age where most people are very sentimental. most people let themselves be attacked by psycho power very easily, and um, and they really don't know how to use it in a good way. But anyways, guys, that is my take. I hope you guys don't mind me using Street Fighter as kind of like making it lighter in a way. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.